Welcome to this week's Okay at Work with myself, Sarah Sawyer, and my colleague, Russell Berger, both attorneys at Offit Kurman. And today we are talking about business relationships. So a lot of times folks go into business by themselves and start something, but often we see that people go into business together or have business partners, decide to partner up resources or skill sets. Someone's really good on operations, and someone's really good on finance and managing people or whatever that might look like. Really good friends sometimes become business partners. That's always a fun one while things are going well. Maybe not so fun if things don't go well and stuff hits the fan. But there's a lot to think about, as I'm alluding to, with the dynamics of business relationships. Just like with any relationship, when things are going well, they go well. And when things are tough, they can be a little challenging. So, what are some things that people should be thinking about if they're going into business together, Russell?
Yeah, usually when people partner or join together at the start of a business relationship, everything seems great and you see the upside and you minimize the downside. That very well may be true. No matter how great that relationship is up front, there's always risk of a downside and things not going well. One thing to think about, particularly when you're drafting an operating agreement and coming to terms on what a partnership is going to look like, is what are things going to look like when we exit or if we exit, and how would that work? That encompasses a whole bunch of questions, but I think it's just important to have that thought exercise because what we see happen a lot is a quote unquote business divorce case where an ownership group or partnership, they're splitting up and going their separate ways. And the business needs to survive. That's the thing that has enterprise value. And who takes control of the business? How is the business protected as you go through this separation process? How do you, as one of the business owners, engage in this process? How are you able to deal with this business divorce while at the same time continuing to lead a company that's in a state of serious transition? So trying to iron these things out ahead of time can be really important. And if you don't iron them out ahead of time, not that it can't be done, it should be done strategically and purposefully and with an eye on all these factors that should go into your decision making.
Yeah, and talking about the proactivity, having a good idea of who does what in the business from the start can really help navigate when conflicts happen or when you are going through a business divorce or things are breaking up. Having clear division of labor of what people are doing, what their responsibilities are, what their roles are. I find that sometimes that lack of clarity is what leads to the conflict to begin with. But sometimes the conflict is inevitable, or maybe it's not contentious. It just is that it's run its course, or someone in the business has something happen in their life that changes their ability to be involved in the business long term, or maybe they want to invest in something else and so they need to exit. There can be a lot of reasons that a business partnership dissolves or people go their separate ways. We talk a lot about proactivity on here and a lot of just being prepared and preparing for those times. And I think that even if it's not going to be contentious, really having clear boundaries of what everyone's expectations are in that partnership within the business, what everyone's roles are, and clearly what the exit plans are, because it can come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. As much as we all try to read tea leaves and predict the future, I at least haven't really figured that out fully yet. Always have to be preparing for the situations where it might not go exactly as planned.
Well, yeah, not going exactly as planned is certainly what gives rise to the whole legal profession. No one's quite figured that out entirely. And I'll add too, if you don't have the roadmap and the exit plan mapped out ahead of time, and you find yourself in this kind of conflict or this type of separation, I think it's important that you get a game plan. And it might be contentious. It's different than having an agreed upon roadmap. And frankly, even when you do have an agreed upon roadmap, there's always enough vagueness that there are things that could be fought about. You just want to be prepared and not take anything for granted, whether you have a roadmap or not, but particularly if you don't, and try to build your plan and your ideal path forward and start making decisions and implementing strategies that will help get you as close to that ideal exit path as possible.
And as lawyers, we know how to find that vagueness, that's for sure. Well, thanks, Russell. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Sarah.